Hi, my name is Heather Feather. I am the owner of Rare Bird Medicine, and today I wanted to talk about trashing the temple. The temple I'm talking about is your temple, and it is, to me, multiple things. It is a physical temple. They would call it clay back in the day, but a flesh costume is what I like to refer to it as. This flesh costume called Heather Mackey right now, in this seeming paradigm, multiverse. There's the flesh costume component of your temple. There is the mental structure, the mind, your thoughts, your thinking. There's the temple of your mind. There's the temple of your heart, honoring the way your heart feels, honoring the requests of your emotional principle, your inner water. When I'm speaking about temple, I'm speaking about the matrix that is you, your flesh costume, your mind, your heart, your personality matrix, the you that I'm talking to right now. And there are many ways that a two-legged can trash their temple. One of the ways that we can do this, and one that I think two-legged spend a lot of consciousness on, it's one of these things where it's like either make a change or accept what you're choosing. And as a general rule, that's pretty good advice. Either make a change if you're going to attack yourself all the time, or accept what you're choosing and just make peace with it and just do what you're doing. But this can come up a lot for our diet, our exercise, because there can be so much consciousness around the way we treat our physical temple. There can be so many magazines, articles, so many variant communications, so many ways we can receive ideas of what our body should look like based on normative media offerings. Get it together, you guys. Bodies are different and they're beautiful in all their forms. I would just say that honoring your temple, when you treat your cellular body, all the little cells that make you, when you treat your physical body like it is a sacred temple for your mind and for your heart, for the thing, for some of you, that carries your spirit forth, then you're going to have more energy, more vibrancy, more life force component. However, we are where we are and we're given what we're given. Some of my most beloved friends were raised on fast food and, permitted to eat gravy for dinner, or it's not like everyone comes in with just great awareness of the virtue of organic produce, and for those that are concerned about soil health, grass-fed, grass-finished meats and pasture-raised chickens and turkeys and eggs. So we're not all raised with that awareness. My father was an organic farmer. I'm very blessed to have his intelligence in my DNA. It definitely has caused me as an entity. Growing up on a natural foods farm, I was born in Atlanta, Texas, and we lived at a natural foods farm. That aided me to kind of have this awareness, but not everyone's handed that. So one of the things that I like to offer around the concept of diet and the concept of exercise is always A, to start where you are, and B, work with the addition method. So A, starting where you are. If you are having almost no physical movement, if you feel lethargic, tired, if you feel like, man, I used to do yoga or I used to take salsa, but this year has been difficult for me. I don't feel like moving at all. Then I would say start where you are and just set a calendar reminder to stretch 5 minutes, 3 days a week. No, you don't have to P90X, whatever. You don't have to go from 0 to 100. And in the Western world, we're sold 0 to 100 left, right, and center. And we don't have to choose that model for ourselves. We can say, I'm going to start just keeping a commitment to myself to stretch 3 times a week for 5 minutes each time. And then I'm going to increase to 5 days, or I'm going to increase to 10 minutes. And you just progress with more physical movement, because as you age, you might find if you don't have that stretching, that component of working with your physical body, whether it be Tai Chi, Qigong, yoga, just general stretching. It doesn't have to be some vigorous, intensive exercise. You might lose the mobility to tie your shoes as an 80-year-old if you're blessed to live that long. So just stretching, keeping the body like limber, flexible, pliable. And then as far as diet is concerned, you start where you are. If you're eating fast food all the time, are there some that you would consider eliminating? If you drink soda all the time, would you consider making a switch to some other sugar-free flavored bubble water instead? Coca-Cola and Nestle are responsible for about 80% of the plastic pollution in our oceans. So does it make you a terrible human if you drink Coca-Cola? You may be drinking Coca-Cola because that's what you were raised with, you know? You can, though, make active choices to participate in not only your wellness, but also the Earth's wellness by saying, you know what, I think I'm not going to do soda water. I mean, I'm not going to do like Coke and Pepsi and Dr. Pepper. It'll remove corrosion off a battery. So I don't know if something removes corrosion off a battery should be in my body. I still like a cold bubble water, so I'm going to get a watermelon Waterloo and keep that in my fridge, or lime Waterloo. And when I want a soda, I'm going to drink that. Or I'm going to have iced tea, which costs, 25 cents per pitcher. I'm going to have iced tea if I want caffeine in my fridge instead of drinking soda. So you just slowly make that gradual change. And my sister taught me many moons ago, and I love this method. You can also work with the addition method. So maybe if you're not ready to completely give up on soda, you just add in iced tea in the fridge, you add in a different type of bubble water, slowly make the changeover. Again, with the addition method, instead of being like, okay, I have to eat super healthy, that's 0 to 100 again with diet here in the States. Instead of that, just add in nutrient-dense foods. Just say, one night per week, I'm going to eat salmon and asparagus. So I'm going to just start that. I'm going to start a new ritual with myself where one night per week I have salmon and asparagus, and the rest of the time I'm eating fast food or whatever it is I'm doing. Or one night per week I'm going to do a sweet potato, super nutrient-dense, super cheap, super delicious. I'm going to just add in sweet potato into my diet so I can get more nutrients. So can you make some subtle changes in the physical realm by adding in more of what you want to see, and by starting where you are to shift towards the end result of what you seek? And if you're somebody who's never made changes and you feel like you're not going to do that, can you stop talking ugly to yourself about the choices you are making? Because death is imminent. It's coming for all of us like a freight train. Everybody gets to exit flesh costume. That's coming like the sun will rise tomorrow. You're going to die. I'm going to die. Everything you've ever seen that is alive will die. I got another dead bird today. Fun, death. Death is imminent. And so if you're going to walk this journey, and if you're going to do it in a larger body, can you just love it and love yourself and talk kindly to you? If you're going to eat sugary foods and eat fast food, can you just love yourself? I would say that's a much more valuable practice than constantly being in a state of judgment and recrimination for your choices, because that compounds it. It just adds insult to injury, because you're eating these unhealthy foods, and then also energetically, emotionally, cognitively, you're attacking yourself. So the first thing to know is whether or not you actually do want to elicit change. And if you want to elicit change, can you make gradual, slow progress towards the aim? And if you don't want to make a change, can you get honest with yourself and be like, okay, I'm tired of talking about this. I'm not going to talk about it. I'm not going to make a change. I'm going to eat this way. Okay. Then just make peace with that and now be nice to you. So that next aspect of not trashing the temple is the way we speak to ourselves, the way we talk to ourselves. And part of the way we talk to ourselves is the way we talk about others. It's a field of atoms, everybody. It's just a big old field of atoms. All we have here are atoms. That's just a bunch of atomic energy. That's what's going on everywhere. So when we're attacking any of what's out there, we're also attacking what's here. It's the same thing. And usually what the ego denies, it projects. So we tend to attack what's out there that we can't accept in our own growth and evolution in here. So one of the ways I want to talk about shifting out of trashing the temple, which is a toxic, common normative in this realm that I don't recommend, is to consider Am I willing to speak more kindly to myself? Am I willing to be more loving? Am I willing to put myself first? Am I willing to check in when somebody asks me something like, do you want to go to my baby shower, or do you want to go do this thing? Am I willing to check in and be like, do I? Do I want to do that? Because your feelings are also something that you're a steward of. And when you force yourself to do things you don't want to do, you're not living the life of your dreams, I can tell you that much. It's a difficult way to live the life of your dreams is to force yourself to do things you don't want to do. And what is freedom? To me, freedom is the capacity to have choice. And in that choice, it is the wisdom to know to use that choice in such a way that it engenders a sense of liberation in the entity that's making the choice. So, are there any ways that you are thinking about others, humanity, those that are rich, those that are poor, those that are shaped like this, those that are shaped like that, those that, the haves and the have-nots? Is there any way that you're looking at humanity that is judgmental, biased, and trashing their temples? Is it possible to rein that in by saying, you know what, evolution happens at different rates for each entity, and I'm not going to ask this person to be me. I'm not going to ask them to be me and be where I am. Let me appreciate my gifts and let me focus up on my own growth and evolution. The only place where I actually do have tremendous power to elicit change. So is there anyone out there that you need to forgive their growth and evolution? And is there anything that you're doing in here that could use some forgiveness? You're allowed to learn. You're allowed to grow. You're allowed to not know. You're allowed to evolve. You don't have to have it all going on at 100 all the time. Our best changes on a daily basis, and we each have different well-developed life skills and areas that we're growing into. Every single two-legged, that is true. So is there some way in which you're speaking to yourself, in which you're trashing the temple of your mind? Perhaps letting people into the garden of your mind that don't belong there. That's been a tough one for me. I've always felt very unified with all of life, always will, but it's been a difficult and lifelong lesson for me to understand that some aspects of life get to be outside the fence of the garden of my mind. They get to be outside of the temple room. You get to be blessed outside of the fence of my reality. And I bless you and I wish you well, but you don't actually get to be in my inner sphere. And I'm the steward. I am the steward of what I choose to expose myself to. I am a choice. I have the freedom to choose. And I can choose to bless away from me that which doesn't belong in the garden, that which causes me to think low of myself. People who want to hold a low opinion of me are welcome to do that. They're welcome to do that, and they're welcome to do it outside of the fence of the temple of my mind. Bye, Felicia. Bless you. May you be well with your negative thoughts over there. That doesn't have anything to do with me, whatever you've decided I am. The fact is, no two-legged truly knows another two-legged. We barely know ourselves. So is there any way that you're allowing others to trash the temple of your mind in the way you think of yourself? Are there any ways in which you're trashing the temple of your mind? And then ultimately what we think about leads to the way that we feel. So do your feelings feel dark, depressive, low vibe, low frequency? As someone who has had chronic depression and a tremendous amount of suicidal ideation, I have learned again and again and again, it is the thinking that's going on up here that leads to the sadness and pain in here. And I'm never going to advocate that we shouldn't feel. We would be so bored as humans if we were just like happy. We like to be sad. We like to be mad. It's great to feel all of it. But it's important to know if I'm constantly sad in here, there's something going on in the temple of my mind that may need a little bit of weeding and cleanup work within my timeline, So the invitation and invocation today is, are there any ways in which you can be kinder, gentler, more loving, more supportive of the temple of who you be? Is there any way that you want to honor this thing called thee? Go to rarebirdmedicine.com. Lots of services available there. You can also subscribe to Rare Bird Medicine on YouTube. Blessed be.